No, but thanks for joining, man.
All right,
when
so
I
yeah,
when I go to when I go to the zoo, I'm like a little kid, and I'm like, so I can only imagine. They go in the backyard, they're like a deer.
yeah, it's unfortunate right now because we live maybe like 5 minutes from Lorry Park Zoo, so we're always passing it.
Oh, okay,
And they're
okay.
always, they're always getting upset. Like, is the zoo open yet? Still
Yeah,
closed.
man. That's great. Well, thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, of course.
Appreciate it.
Of
Obviously,
course.
happy Easter for myself, Team La Perla, and everybody that's
Thank you
tuning
guys.
in. Yeah.
You guys.
So we have Mark Reyes Jr. for all of you that are tuning in. Um, Mark is a professional boxer. He's 12-0, 10 knockouts. You can see in the background,
Yeah.
we had some of his photos from recent fights, and obviously the big news, and we'll discuss that more a little bit later in our conversation today. So, Mark, 24 years old. Is that correct?
Just had a birthday. Yeah.
Just had his birthday.
Just had a birthday into my Kobe year now, and
Yep,
excited. Excited to see what things are gonna come of the new year.
definitely, man, definitely. So your last fight was in Tampa, March 14th. I
Yeah.
had the opportunity to go and watch you live and actually see you. A lot of times I'm working, so I had that opportunity to actually watch one of your
Actually
fights.
enjoy the show. And hey, what's up? That's my brother that just said Marky. So I love you, man. Happy.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, it's always good. It's always good to you know make a good impression on people. And I've ran into you a few times. We've always talked and whatnot. And it's always good. It's always good to be able to talk to the people that way and just kind of connect with them. That's one of the biggest things. That's one of the things that I love about the sport is the connections that you can make with people.
definitely, definitely. And us both being in the boxing world, I'm not a boxer, as we know, but just
Right.
working and being around it and having the opportunity to make connections with people and meet genuine people. It's
Exactly.
a very brutal sport, man. Kind of dirty, unfortunately, and
Yeah. Cutthroat.
it's yeah, very cutthroat, as we know, very businesslike. So
Exactly. And but this when you think about it in life, a lot of things are gonna be that way. Nothing's gonna come easy. Nothing's gonna be given. Um, it's funny because one of the movies that I really like, and I just quoted it this morning to my brother and my son. I was like, take from them everything and give them nothing. But in life, a lot of things are gonna be that way. You have to
okay,
find your moments and opportunities to be able to put your foot in, and show exactly what you are and who you're gonna be, and basically just signify who you are in the sport or in your field, in your craft, and
correct.
you have to take advantage of all the opportunities that come, because if not, nothing's gonna be given to you.
It's very true, man. Very true. And it's funny. The first time I met you was probably in St. Pete at a fight. I was working. I had just stepped in the room, and you were getting started.
Mm.
This is back. I want to say in is it the Armory, St. Pete Armory, the Coliseum.
It's St. Pete Coliseum, yeah.
Okay, yeah, which is a beautiful
It is.
location.
It's a really nice venue.
And I remember walking in, and you're a pretty low key, laid back guy, and I'm a very like, hey, But
Right.
obviously, being I was working, and I knew who you were, and for the first time meeting someone, and just trying to have a normal conversation, so to say, in that environment can be tough.
Right.
And honestly, what I took away from it is, wow, I met a very professional person today, and you carry yourself well, man. And since
Thank
then, earn my
I
respect.
appreciate that.
I don't get that all the time, man.
No,
A lot of
no,
times
I
working
really
in boxing.
appreciate that. Yeah, I really
Yeah.
appreciate that. So one of the things about myself was, I didn't come from, a rich family, a wealthy family. I didn't come from, any kind of background that was extravagant. I didn't grow up in the best neighborhood. Didn't have always the best things, but the one thing I always told myself was that my life may start this way, but it will not end this way. I want to show, act, and be where basically, like, I want to show myself as where I want to be, not
Mm,
where I am. And in the end, I feel like that's been kind of a testament to my character, because I've always looked at myself as somebody that I want to be better than the version that I was yesterday. I want to continue to evolve and be the best person that I can be every day. And that's one of those things that I feel like carries into not just life, not just boxing, but just me as a father as well. It's something that I'm really big on is always continuing to evolve and always continuing to be better than the person that I was previous.
Wow, very well spoken, man. That's powerful stuff.
Thank you.
Very well rounded. So we'll get started here.
Balance.
Yeah,
Balance is key,
everything's
right?
in balance, right, brother?
Got to.
We don't see enough of that in the boxing world. So it's great to hear that, man, in your message. And I'm looking forward to giving you that opportunity today. So basically, we'll start with sharing. You could share about your background, where you were born, where you've grown up, kind of some of your family life. You want to go ahead and share a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So first off, born in Tampa, raised in Tampa, been here all my life. Don't plan on leaving. I always tell people it's a perfect place to have a family. My kids love it. I love it. All my family's here as well, so it's nice. But one of the things that I would say that got me into boxing was, my dad used to box back in the day. My grandfather used to box in the Army, and my dad had a few fights amateur. So I was very hyper as a kid. I played a little bit of baseball, but he was like, you know what? Let me put him into boxing. I think maybe this could be something for him. And me at that time, I was 6 years old, so
Oh
I
wow,
wasn't interested in going to a boxing gym, having to work
yeah.
out. Baseball was fun because you didn't do a whole lot of workouts. But I'll never forget my first day at the gym. We did 200 push-ups, 200 sit-ups,
Mm.
ran 2 miles. I did a few rounds on the mitts, did duck walks 4 times around the ring, and then I did like 10 to 15 minutes on the speed bag. I
Oh
remember
man.
I was so small. I was so small that we had to actually put a table under the speed bag so I could stand on it and hit it because I wasn't tall enough yet.
Oh man.
But I'll never forget. So I'll never forget that day. Like that. That's engraved in me forever. But boxing's just been something that I don't know. It's kind of just been a testament to life. I always tell people, you might see me as a fighter, and that's my career. That's what I chose to do. But in the end, everybody's a fighter. We all fight through life. We all fight through obstacles that we have to get
Mm.
through. So that's just one of the things that I always tell people. It's like don't think that you're not a fighter because you are. You've gotten this far in life, haven't you? How many times have you felt like I'm never going to get through this moment in my life? You
Mm.
get through it. You keep pushing. Perseverance. Perseverance is key. You gotta continue to elevate.
Definitely, man. That's powerful stuff. So starting at a young age, 6 years old, that first day I probably would have quit. I'll be honest with you.
No, it's
But
funny. I had a trainer after that one that he used to make kids spar the very first day that they showed up to the gym. He made them spar. That was the
oh
first thing he did.
man.
He tried to weed them out. He said, if this kid's got heart, he's gonna come back tomorrow. He's gonna show up ready to train. If he doesn't, and it's not for him, and they won't come back.
Wow.
Everybody's got their own method.
Right, and that's huge. That's huge for everybody because it essentially you could go in there and day one you might have been like, "This is not for me," but your
Right.
introduction was rough and you kind of you persevered, man. That's huge. A lot of people, like I said, would probably just walked away. I mean,
I
that
didn't
sounds
have
brutal.
I didn't have much of a choice. My dad, he's like,
Yeah,
you're going to do this, and that's it. And
that that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So when you got that introduction, was a gym in Tampa? Was it outside of
Tampa.
Tampa?
Yes,
Okay,
that was right off of it was called the old what was it? West Tampa Community
okay,
Boxing Gym. So it was
okay,
right off of Howard and Spruce,
okay.
right there.
Wow. So you trained there early on, up until I'm sure a certain point. Was there anybody back then that you still know now in the fight game, actual fighters, or
There's
anybody
a
in
lot
the
of people I met. There's a lot
from
of people that I
from
met.
early on? You're saying
Yeah, yeah,
locally.
definitely. Um, I'd say like as far as local fighters, I met a lot of people when they were still amateurs.
Okay.
Like Manny Woods was one of the first people that I
Okay.
walked into a gym with out in St. Pete Boxing Club.
Okay.
So I mean, I've seen a lot of these guys from their first fight. TNT was on a Tommy Lembroy. He was on a card with me. I've known Lenroy
Okay.
since I was 6 years old. We used to run together. It's funny because I used to run with Lenroy, so
Yeah.
that because he was a heavyweight, so he ran
Big
slower than
guy.
all
Big
the other
guy.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he ran slower than all the other guys. He's like, just stick with me. I got you.
Yeah.
But no, man, it's been an incredible journey so far, and I'm just excited for the next for the next chapter of it. Being signed with Dibella
Definitely.
and being able to get on the cards that I want to get on, being able to get some of these bigger fights,
Hmm.
better names, better opposition. I'm really excited for all of that. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, you're at a stage now that a lot of people don't get to in the fight game, and it's not a game. When we
No,
look at it and we say
yeah,
that, we think about it, say, wait a minute. But
nothing
you're at a
gamified.
stage in the sport where a lot of people don't get to, and we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves. We'll take
Hmm.
it back to the transition into your amateur career because I do want to discuss about this and obviously your pro career. Taking it back to the transition from the boxing gym in West Tampa there to your amateur career. How did that develop over time, I guess, in sharing with others?
Okay. Oh,
We're
let's see.
taking it back.
Tito, CBA. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Much love. I appreciate all the support that you guys give me. Um, Man, so
We're taking
I
it
didn't have
back. I
my
know.
first fight. I didn't have my first fight for 6 years. So all I did was train, from
Wow.
6 all the way till 12, and I had my first amateur fight, and I was kind of anxious because you
Mm-hmm.
do all this training, you do all this sparring, and then finally you have a fight.
Okay.
The fight turned out great. I fought a kid that had already 3 fights, 3 or 4 amateur fights, which is the
Wow.
most that they could have, versus somebody that was basically having their first amateur fight. I
Wow.
beat him. I won that fight, and then the second fight I also won. So I won a few fights, and then ended up losing one. So I think it was like 4-1 to start off with. Before I
Okay.
had 10 fights, I was 8-1, and we went to the National Pal in San Antonio. It was my first time traveling, first time
Wow.
anywhere out of state for a
Mm-hmm.
tournament, and it was a national tournament at that. So I
Mm.
fought the best I fought the best opposition that was there,
Okay.
and we ended up fighting this kid Kareem Martin, and in the finals. So I beat the kid on the first night. Second night was the finals, and I lost to him on points. Never got the rematch. Always wanted the rematch. Even now as a
Mm.
pro, I still want the rematch. We've called a few times to see if,
Really?
yeah, to see if we can get that. Um, but we still haven't gotten that fight yet. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't.
Yeah.
But
One day.
in
One day.
exactly. In the end, I got the experience that I needed. So I ended up winning over the course of my amateur career. What's up, Willie? Um, Willie's a great guy, great
I
boxer.
go. I go back with him. I'm from
Yeah,
Rochester. He's from Rochester.
yeah.
So.
Willie's cool, man. I like him. So, I ended up winning 3 national tournaments, and here in the States, I won 2 in Puerto Rico, and then once we once we saw that I wasn't going to be able to make it to the trials with an injury that happened, actually
Mm.
a local fighter,
Really? Okay.
Omar Albanil, we were sparring and messed up my elbow, so I had to take
Mm.
some time off. And then when I came back,
Yeah.
decided it's just time to turn pro.
Okay. About what age did you? So from age 6, you went till 12 years old.
Right,
Started as an amateur from
started at
12 until.
12 until 19. It was
Oh wow.
actually
Okay.
like a few weeks before my 20th birthday that I turned pro,
Wow.
2016. In
Wow.
2016, yeah.
How many amateur fights total then between that period? That's a long time. So
40. I didn't have many.
okay.
A lot of the times I ended up not getting fights at local shows, which is something that a lot of fighters do get as amateurs. They get, "What's up,
Hmm.
Ryan? What's going on?" Um, Great guy, awesome socks, odd socks. If you don't know, you got to get out. Um,
I've heard of it. I've heard of it. Okay.
so this is just one of those things that
Yeah.
it was a great experience. I probably had about 40. I think it was 45 and 40 and 6. I ended up with my amateur career. But in the end, a lot of those fights were coming from national tournaments that I was going to. What's going on? That's my promoter. That's the Instagram account for Dibella Entertainment. Happy to be signed. Thank you guys, and look forward to getting together soon. soon as this Corona thing is settled and dealt with.
Yeah, it's tough.
But yeah, so at that time we felt like I had good experience. Felt like we were ready for that, and that's why we decided to turn pro. And here I am now, 12-0. Pro life, that's been a whole nother journey. So it's almost
Yeah.
like you learned everything. You learned everything as an amateur that you needed to know, the ins and outs, and all of
Okay.
it. And then you turn pro. And you get into something that you're completely unfamiliar with. Everything is different. Thank you, Willie. I appreciate that. You always got my support, man. Can't wait to see you. You guys and the family, just be safe, and I'll see you soon. So, when once I turned pro, that was another. It was almost like being my first amateur fight again. I was nervous about that too, and
Yeah, I'm sure, man. That's
but
brutal.
it's something. You're a fighter. You get through it. What's up, Mason? Mason is an amateur fighter. Always helps me, give me work. Great kid, got good potential. Just got to
What's
believe
going
in
on, Mason?
it. But yeah, so I'm sitting there at the weigh-in. I remember I'm sitting there at the weigh-in, and I had just actually made the weight that morning.
Wow.
So I was a little drained, a little tired. Doesn't goes with fighting though, in the end.
Yeah.
And I remember, SA 23. That's my mom. Hi, mom. How are you?
Hello, mom.
Uh, so I was sitting there at the weigh-in, watching all these guys weigh in, and I'm just thinking like, what's it gonna be like fighting with 8-ounce gloves? Because that's something I'd never done either. Fighting without a
Right.
headgear, they changed it in the amateur, so I ended up fighting a few fights with no headgear. So that
Okay.
was I wasn't too worried about that. It was just the feeling of having 8-ounce gloves. I'm thinking, man, are my hands gonna be okay? Is everything gonna be good? And in the end, got a victory, first round knockout. I think first 3 fights all ended within 2 rounds, and then my fourth fight finally had a tough. I wouldn't say like skill wise he was the toughest, but definitely this guy Curtis Waller. He had the toughest skull I've ever had to hit in my life. I knocked him down. I knocked him down in the first round with I think it was like a right hand. I stepped over, caught him with the right hand. So I'm thinking at the beginning of the round that happened. So I'm thinking, this is gonna be an early night. I'm gonna get him
Yeah.
out of here.
Oh
And
man.
he ends up the referee tells him like 2 or 3 times, like, fighter, boxer, show me something, right? So I'm thinking, okay, I'm getting him out of here. And I gas myself out. So I'm like, oh shit. All right, well, we're going into the second round. Here we go.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things that you just gotta continue, persevere. You gotta push through. I was tired, but I made it through. And let's just say I have never been tired like that in another fight, because I made sure I trained well, and I made sure that I paced myself well too. But it is just funny that something happened like that. Kind of taught me early on, not to rush, not to overdo anything.
Yeah. It reminds me of when Kodo fought Mungai. I don't know if he's a
That was a tough
Japanese
fight.
fighter.
Yeah, yeah, that's
If you
tough.
remember that fight, I mean, I think the amount of punches that he threw, and he was exhausted, and the guy just wouldn't go. The ref, I believe, stepped in finally, if I remember
Finally,
right. Yeah, it was pretty brutal. You want to talk about a hard skull?
it's like
That's
another.
what came to mind when you first said
It was
that.
like the Colombian fight he had. The Colombian fighter that he fought against. I can't remember his name, but he ended up getting dropped him. I think he got dropped again. So he
Well, you're talking
goes.
about very early on. Very
It,
early on.
it was. I think he was still at 140 when this happened.
Okay. Yeah, that's a
He was
while
still at
back.
140.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was like right before he moved up to 47. Right
Yep.
before he decided.
I forgot the
And,
guy's name too.
they were going back at it, back and forth, and then finally in the later rounds he got him out of there. But it's you get into some wars sometimes.
Yep.
It's gotta be smart. Know when to pick your shots and when to get out.
So I was looking. Yeah, it's
Ryan,
huge.
thank you, Ryan. There it is. He found it. Ryan Ricky remember.
Oh, Carlos
Mouse, mouse.
Mousa. Okay,
Yeah,
interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Ryan. Appreciate that. It's taking it back a ways there.
yeah.
So
I like that Ryan's. He's always up on his boxing stuff. He's a
yeah,
boxing
I'm
junkie.
slacking on that one. I should have known as much as I know about Cotto, that early fight. So that March 4th, 2016 was when you had your pro debut.
March
That
4th.
was
Yeah, March 4th.
March 4th. That was Harrison Melendez. So that's
Harrison,
taken. Okay, so that's taking it back. That's taking it back. That was at the a la carte pavilion, actually, which
Yeah,
is
I was at the
which
pavilion, which is
is
no longer up.
unfortunately, what a great venue, man. You've had the opportunity to fight at some great venues locally. Between that and then St. Pete, obviously the Coliseum. So those two venues, unfortunately, a la carte is gone. So let's talk about as you advance in the career. You got to 8-0.
Right.
You went into that fight in February of 2019. This gentleman, Rodrigo, I cannot pronounce his last name,
They
Tatahitsky.
can pronounce it Tatayevsky. Tatayevsky.
Okay. Okay. So share with us a little bit about this fight. This gentleman obviously had some experience.
Right.
I believe he was undefeated as well.
8-0. Yeah, it was 8-0
Okay.
against
So a
8-0.
lot of hype around this.
There was.
At
Look,
that point, going into it, just share your experience about that fight.
it was different because everybody that I fought before had a loss, so obviously there's a way to beat them. In the end, there's some kind of blueprint there to being able to beat them, and this is the first fighter that I had come across with a winning, not just a winning record, but an unbeaten record, and I think I just kind of remember almost meditating on it and telling myself like he hasn't learned how to lose yet, but
Mm.
I know how to beat him. I'm gonna teach him how to lose.
Definitely, man. So after, as time went on, obviously it was a big victory. You're at 12-0 now. You recently, you're in your what number fight with your trainer Chino. Coach Chino obviously has been huge in your development, even in a short period of time.
Mhm.
I'm sure you can attest to that. Obviously, a ton of experience, worked with many world champions. So, talk about the transition of trainers and kind of how that experience has been thus far, and how many fights you've actually worked together now.
So the first fight that Chino ended up working my corner, we didn't work together. My dad and myself pretty much trained me for that camp.
Wow.
That's happened several times on different occasions. We end up, just training, ourselves, make it work, and go in fighting. We're gonna be ready, sharp mentally, sharp physically, and do what we have to do. Um, Honestly, my dad doesn't give himself enough credit. He's actually a really, really good cornerman.
Mm.
So I'm appreciative of that. I always like him in the corner when he can be. And so for Chino, the first fight that we fought that he was in my corner was in August. We actually trained together one time, felt the chemistry there, felt, the connection just as people, as fighter to trainer. And I really enjoyed that. So the following fight, I left for 6 weeks to go train, stayed in New Jersey, and trained with him. Went up north, what was it? Like West New
Northern.
York. Yeah, like West New York. We were up there for a few weeks to get some training with
Okay.
a strength and conditioning coach. Then we came down, got good rounds of sparring, got great sparring actually with all the guys. Sosa's one of them, the 130 guy.
Jason Sosa, is that?
So yeah, Jason Sosa.
Okay.
He's cool people, man. But that's
Solid
another fight,
fighter. Solid fighter. Yeah.
definitely. So, um, I got great work, got great sparring, got great. What did I say? Great mentorship from Chino.
Mm.
He likes his fighters to be sharp mentally, sharp physically as well, and that's one of the biggest things. He focuses a lot on mentally building fighters. And so when I came back down, that was one of the things that I felt the difference in between camps. And then for this last fight, we just worked on everything that we had worked on before, added to that as well, built off of that.
Excuse me.
And I feel like, it's going to be a solid foundation going forward.
Awesome, man. And it's funny. Our actions speak louder than words. So when I actually worked in his corner a couple of years ago at an event in Kissimmee for a world title fight, another professional that acted like one. The guy's
Right.
been there,
Oh,
done that, been there, done that, and you don't always have those experiences. Some people think their heads in the clouds. This gentleman has obviously been at the top of the game, and it was a great experience I had in interaction working with him. So true professional, man.
definitely.
I can attest to that personally. So small world in boxing sometimes.
Definitely. Boxing world is super small. I mean,
It is.
it's tough.
It is.
Everybody knows everybody at some point.
For sure. So we'll wrap up the pro stuff with your announcement. Obviously, as we can see in the background, Dibella Entertainment, you've signed with them and Lou Dibella and his company. Talk to us about that and really the prospect moving forward and what your plans are with them.
I mean, it helps a lot. Just the fact that now they're taking care of finding opponents, getting me fights, getting me the right fights, getting me more exposure. So that's definitely going to be the exciting part that comes behind all of this. And I'm just, basically, I'm trusting in them, trusting in Chino, and ultimately that's just what it comes down to. They'll settle the fights. My job is to just train and be ready. So
Right.
I don't have to involve myself much into the behind the scenes part, which is nice. Really just huge weight lifted off of my dad as well. We're appreciative of that.
That's awesome. I can imagine, man. That's a big monkey off the back, so to say.
Oh,
A lot of times I think, and I was trying to think of the right word to use there, but I'm thinking, man, that had to be, and people don't understand that.
oh, it's tough.
Prior to this point, you're literally doing everything, all the way
Every-
from selling tickets, all the way to trying to find the right, opponent. Is someone even going to show up? I mean, you're at
exactly.
that point
And that's happened.
now.
I wish I could have. I wish I would have said that earlier, but we've had several times now where an opponent doesn't show up to a weigh-in.
Mm-hmm.
Opponent, something happens. Opponent can't come and make the flight. That happened. What was it? I think my fight in September. Three opponents, like basically canceled out. Two or three opponents.
Wow.
One from Ohio, something happened, didn't come. Another one from Argentina, couldn't come, couldn't make it. So I mean, it does get tough. At least that's no longer our worry. The most important thing is just to train, stay ready, and look great when we show up to fight.
It's awesome. Congratulations on that signing, man. I think people need to understand that's next level type stuff. It takes a lot of work just to get to this point, and now you're taking another step, and people have to understand that step is a massive one. So congratulations, man.
Thank you. It happened. Took a lot longer than I expected, to be honest. Just with coming into the professional fight game with the amount of amateur experience I had. I thought maybe 5-6 fights I'd get signed to a good promoter. Promoters had sent offers and things like that, but it wasn't any of the promoters that I felt like would take me to where I wanted to be and basically just help me get to where I needed to be and elevate as a fighter the way I needed to. But everything happens for a reason. I'm happy to be happy that I did sign with Lou Dibella, who's the promoter that I've always wanted. You notice he's always talking about things on Twitter, always expressing himself very well.
Very active. Yep.
Exactly. So, to have a promoter like that, that definitely cares for his fighters, it's just, it's kind of surreal almost. So I'm just happy to be a part of the team and happy to get in and show who I am soon.
Definitely. It sounds like persistence was the key in all of this. You could have really maybe gone with another promoter earlier on, but you stayed patient. You were persistent with your game plan and continued to bog down and get after it. And now you're in a much different position now. And like you said, timing and staying persistent, it sounds like. What would you tell up-and-coming fighters that are amateur going to pro ranks or in their current pro ranks? What would your message be to them based on your experiences in boxing?
Ooh, that's a good one. The right team. You got to have the right team. You got to have people that believe in you. You got to believe in yourself. Ultimately, just continue the path. It gets hard sometimes. You might be finding yourself in situations that you didn't expect. You didn't think you'd have to push through, and there is a reward somewhere at the end, and you just got to continue. You just got to continue going down that path, and can't give up. In the end, I believe that God has a plan for me. God has a plan for everybody, and once you give up, you never know what that plan may have been.
That's awesome stuff, man. We really appreciate you sharing that with up-and-coming fighters, knowing that you might not always see the light, but it's there. You have to stay persistent. Stay persistent. Is
definitely there. Let me see. There's a few times where, I told my dad, I said, man, it's tough. 2 kids. I need to provide for them. Starting off right away, boxing doesn't pay well. And unless you're, signed to a great promoter early on. And, so I told my dad a few times, I said, this is really hard. I don't know how long I'll be able to do this.
Right.
Finally things started to look better. I'd say like late last year was when, when we got with Chino, when made the contact with Lou Dibella, and then, finally happened, in March where I got signed. So I just ultimately believe that at the end of the day, your hard work will pay off. It's just nothing's going to be given. You have to earn everything. And you just got to continue to keep pushing. Can't give up. Can't even or any idea of giving up, just throw it completely out. Throw it out of your head. Just keep pushing.
Right. And as a boxer, that's awesome stuff. As a boxer, you're a professional boxer. You're no longer just a fighter, a boxer, whatever. You're a professional. So you have to earn that title. And I think that's key. I think that's very key. and you carry yourself as a professional. So,
I mean,
um,
professionalism is always something that I believed in. You always want to carry yourself as what you want to be seen. Obviously, I'm a professional fighter. I want people to see me and view me as a professional. I don't sit here and do immature things. Uh, you don't see me at fights. Doing a whole lot of things. You don't even see me going out because in the end, what I need to work on, what I need to do. I only have a short, small period of that, and once it's done, it's gone. I can't continue to enjoy those glory moments in the past. I got to continue to keep living. And you gonna say hi? Say hi to people?
happy
No,
Easter.
hi, baby. So that's just one of those things that I tell everybody is like, you know, I don't see myself boxing past 30, 32. I've already told myself that. Like I said, I started at 6. But by the time I get to that point, I'm 24 to 26 years of
Mm,
fighting. It's a long time, and
very long time.
so I'm just looking forward to these next 6 to 8 years, grinding really hard, doing everything that I got to do, and then at
Mm.
the end of it, enjoy time with my family. That's the most important thing to me, and that's why I box to give them a better life than I had, and ultimately I want to have them very happy, very secure in their lives, and just to be able to enjoy it. I just got done talking to my son today. He's like, "Dad, can we go to a rainforest?" I was like, "Well, we've kind of been to a rainforest already." He's like, "In Puerto Rico?" Yeah, we went to a rainforest. And then, so I told him, I said, when he gets older, I'll take him to a rainforest in Brazil, um,
There you go.
to the Amazon. So that's always something that I wanted to give to my kids, just to show them the world. Like I said, I believe in God. God created a beautiful, beautiful earth for us to see, for us to experience. And I want to do that for myself and for my kids.
That's amazing stuff, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. We'll wrap this up. So as we learned today with Mark Reyes Jr., professional boxer, talked to us about his introduction into boxing, how he transitioned in the pro career, how he stayed persistent and got to sign with a big promoter out of New Jersey. And he also shared about his family life. He's a father of 2 children, and he continues to stay persistent in boxing. But he's also shared that he's a professional boxer, but he's not necessarily, this is not what his life is just all about.
Yeah,
Um,
no,
I,
no.
as you shared, you're more than just a fighter, essentially. So I'd like to wrap it up with a couple fast facts. Um, if you were, what's a number one place you'd want to visit that you have yet to visit?
Uh, it's tough. Um,
Put you on the spot.
yeah, I'd say at this point now, I really want to go to Africa. I want to take the
Okay.
kids on the reserve. I want to, basically just show them the beauty of the animal kingdom.
Mm,
Want them to see just the beauty that other countries have to present. Um, so and I think that's the top place for me right now.
that's interesting. Very
But
interesting.
family, yeah, as a family.
That's awesome, man. So your favorite food?
Oof, I love food. Like,
So you have many.
yeah, food,
If you had a
food,
choice, if you had a
food
choice,
brings me happiness, honestly. So when I'm having to make weight, I'm like one of the most miserable people. Um, I'd say probably just because it's so fresh off the top of my brain right now, but like
yeah.
skirt steak with chimichurri sauce. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I just had that like the other day. I think that's on
Okay.
my head right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, I love steak.
Okay.
Steak's good.
So I'll give you two for the last one. Essentially,
Okay.
share with us your favorite thing to do outside of the ring, and
Mm.
maybe something, and it could relate to something that most people don't know about you. So if you want to separate that, or maybe it's
Okay,
two or
what a lot of
more.
people don't know is I I constantly have to have like brain stimulation. So I have to do something that I've either never done, not very good at, and tackle it and try to become somewhat decent towards it. So
Hmm.
a while ago, I kind of picked up piano a little bit. Um, picked up wakeboarding. I'd never done it before, and now I'm pretty good. Now I can like
Wow.
do small tricks, nothing crazy, but some small tricks and stuff. My dad always gets mad at me when I go, which now can't really go and do that. But I like to. I just enjoy challenging myself mostly. And what was the second part?
Something most people don't know about you. You said you shared what your favorite thing to do outside of the ring.
Favorite thing to do outside of the ring. Mm. There's a lot that I like to do.
If you could pinpoint it, what would be your favorite thing to do? If you weren't boxing, you would.
I wasn't. Man, it's just like spending time with the kids and like being a kid. Like just,
Okay.
yeah, like I might be 24, but I still have like kid instincts. Like I'm always looking at things like, oh, this would be cool if I jumped off of this, or like I bought a pool. I have a trampoline. My first instinct was to jump from the trampoline into the
Oh man.
pool. And that's what I like doing, though. You know, just like
Definitely.
living, like staying young.
It's a young mindset for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I'll probably be one of those older guys that you see still doing young things, like just having fun, enjoying
That's
life.
awesome.
You got to, and I think my aunt told me, she's like, once you start to think you're old, that's when you act like you're old. I mean, that's when you are old, is when you start to think that you're old. You know, up until then,
It's a good way to look at it. Yeah.
that's the most important thing. Is just enjoying life. You know, we don't know how great it is until we truly just let loose and enjoy everything.
That's awesome, Mark. We really appreciate your time.
No, thank you.
Yeah, very inspirational. Sharing what you know your life outside of the ring. Many people don't know you outside of seeing you in a boxing ring. So really appreciate your time. Um, Stay safe. If you have
Always.
one last thing to say to everyone watching and or that's going to watch this later on, what would you like to share with them?
Stay safe, guys. You know, if you can stay at home as much as you can, please do so. I'd like for this corona issue to be resolved and dealt with soon, so we can get back to normal everyday life. I can get back to work. I miss it actually. I miss training. I'm missing fighting already, and I can't wait to be back. Um, I miss my kids being in school. I think my kids miss being in school.
Yeah.
You know, everybody just misses everyday life, and can't wait to get back to it. Stay safe. Other than that, guys, and God bless.
Mark Reyes Jr., there you have it. We appreciate all your time, man. Happy Easter.
Happy
Stay
Easter to you.
safe.
Stay
And
safe
I appreciate your time, man.
always. I'll see you soon. Be
All right,
safe.
buddy.
God
Yep.
bless.
Take care. All right.